you referenced, and you can go into as much or as little detail as you wish, but your prior creative projects that you were in, you maybe had feelings where you weren't being listened, or you weren't able to express yourself, or you weren't, being heard in the way that you would have liked. So how has that, without going into details, how did that go for you? And then obviously that's led to the project you're in now. So I'm interested, I suppose, in that timeline more than anything.
Yeah, I guess the timeline was that the band already had a name and already had all of its members except for a lead singer. And that was when I joined. So the image, the concept, the genre, the instrumentation, and the name was already decided for me before I was even in it. And I was really, I think it's good that I joined that band because I loved the music we ended up making, and majority of the rehearsals we had were the coolest times of my life because I was just out of HSC and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I was like, okay, I'll do music. Why not? Sure. That sounds fun. But yeah, I never ever would have conversations about whether I actually had a problem with the fact that I was the lead singer of a band but no one knew my name, or that we weren't playing a genre that I particularly liked that much, and that lyrics, most of the songs, the lyrics were given to me and then I would write the melody for the lyrics. So I wasn't connected to the music emotionally at all. It wasn't my stories. And yeah, that whole thing really ended because I was stepped so far away from it and so separate from it due to the fact that when I joined it, I wasn't really a part of it. It turned into an issue with finances because half of us didn't know where the money was going. And so then it ended with me holding a Zoom call and doing the maths and being like, we need to sort this out and I'm leaving this band because this is so silly. So the only way really that I did leave that band was because I confronted the situation. And there was so many other things that happened, but long story short, it was just I got sick of not knowing and not having a say, but I also never really tried to have a say for most of it. So I can't be mad at the band, but I'm glad that I got out when I did because it wasn't going to change if it stayed with that group of people.
Yeah, it's almost like you were stuck in a high school band or something in that sense. And the reason I say that, I wouldn't even call it a band. We didn't have a name, nothing. But I, did music in year 9 and 10. I had a group of friends. I was on guitar, had another mate on guitar. We had a mate on the bass and a mate who played drums. We didn't have a singer. So anytime, high school performances came around, we were like, oh yeah, let's do this song. Oh shit, we don't have a singer. Let's find someone who can sing. Right. So that was sort of our situation. And it always felt, the singer would always come in and be like, well, I don't have a song to sing, so I guess I'll sing the song that you guys want to do. We did Blink-182, All the Small Things, for example, right? Classic, absolutely. Botch the performance big time. But anyway, this is a side note. What the point I'm getting at is it feels similar-ish to me that all the guys played instruments. They were all, I assume, friends and mates. They needed a singer.
They all went to high school together.
100%, right? They go, let's form a band, but
right.
We don't have anyone who can sing. And then they found you. You came in, but they had their own idea of how the project was going to work. So I can see those parallels there. And then it's completely juxtaposed by your current band and the way that you currently operate. And it does sound like that experience that you had has formed you, led you to, operate and run the band the way that you do, because you know what that experience feels like. You don't want anyone in the band to feel that way. Not just about yourself, but for, the new guitarist joining or for the drummer. You don't want anyone to feel isolated or like they don't have a voice. So as much as, and you've acknowledged it yourself, it was not the best experience, but you're also thankful for it because it's given you what you have now.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. It is so funny though, because it's literally they all went to high school together and they finished high school and they were like, well, we just need a singer. It's the final piece. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try to, I know that sometimes I'll be overly is everyone okay? And I'll do it all the time. And we'll be in rehearsal and I'm like, okay, we finished that cover. and I just go thoughts, feelings, emotions, and I just like look around the room and I stare at everyone and I look for any possible facial expression of like a ooh, because that's usually when the conversation starts, when someone's like didn't love that, and which I really like. I kind of like when the band suddenly has a really strong opinion about a song, because then I'm like, okay, it's cool because they're engaged and they feel like they should have an opinion, and it makes me feel like they are really committed to it as well.